Hey, what's going on? Doing a quick little Facebook Live talking about how you should train like you're going to race. As the comment says, if you're going to race in a warmer climate, training in a colder climate probably isn't going to help. I know we all have our limitations of situations. You know, here we are in Kansas City and we're in the 50s right now, and it's going to be raining in 50s tomorrow. Training farm in Tulsa in May. At the end of May, it could be kind of warm in Tulsa, so it's kind of a crapshoot. You know, you got to do specific things. You want to be ready to race in race day conditions. So, a couple little tips: mimic the climate as best as you can. So, I've got some little bitty space heaters. Fire those up. Wear extra clothing to get yourself warmed up, to get used to being warm while you're working out. Because if you're cold, you might get the muscular endurance and you might get the aerobic capacity done, but you probably will not sweat near as much as you will on race day. And if you're not getting that sweat rate taken care of and getting adjusted to how much you will profusely sweat on race day, that's going to be quite a shock. And come mile probably 13, 14 on the run of a full Ironman, you're really going to feel that difference. So do the best you can. Mimic the terrain as best as you can. So with smart trainers these days, you can go to like Rouvier has specific courses. You can download them into Garmin and run your Garmin device on your computer, or run your trainer with your Garmin device. Platforms will do it. So really, it's as best as you can. You know, if you got a classic trainer, it's not a smart trainer, you can still do the best you can, changing the gearing and the shifting to mimic hills and that type of thing. With treadmills, don't just set them at 1.0 and just keep running on them unless you're going to do a flat course like Tulsa. But if you're doing a course like Chattanooga, you need to set it up at 5, 8 incline and run those for a little bit and mimic some hills. So mimic the terrain as best as possible, especially if you live in a flat area and you're doing a hilly race. You got to go out there and find that one hill that you love and just ride it up and down several times if you're going to be riding a hilly course. So mimic the terrain as best you can. I know for me, I'm doing my workouts early in the morning and it's mostly dark. On race day, it's going to be bright and there's going to be light, especially in the middle of the day. So the best you can, I know it's difficult, if you can get out and do stuff kind of over lunch, when it's sunny, when it's hot, or warmer, try to get those when you can. Just take advantage. You don't have to try to do every workout at that time, but the race, at some point in time, you're going to be in the middle of the day or middle of the afternoon. You're going to be outside doing this race. So sometimes, if you can, sprinkle it in your training to where you're actually doing the workouts. Or if you're in your basement, in your pain cave, turn on the lights. Get used to being light. Don't train your body to work in the dark only. If you are going to do all your training and stuff indoors and whatever, make sure you're training in the gear you're going to race in once in a while. Now, if you have that nice special race tri-suit, maybe don't ride it all the time because you don't want to wear it out, but you need to train in it. So make sure you're doing your running if you're going to run it, or whatever you're going to run in, or whatever you're going to bike in. Make sure you're doing that, because if you're riding your trainer in cycling shorts and you're going to do a tri-suit on race day, that's going to be quite a shock to the sensitive areas. You're going to be having a lot of chafing and stuff. So make sure you're training what you're going to race in. Make sure that if you are going to use like a tri-suit and you're going to use, body glide or tri-slide or something like that for lubrication, try it in your training. Put them in the tri shorts, put it around. If you wear sleeveless, sometimes I have to put something in the little arm thing, or I get chafed on there with my arm hitting my side there. So whatever you're going to use for lubrication and anti-chafing, make sure you're trying out in training, because you don't want to find out on race day that you're maybe allergic to one of the anti-chafing things you're going to use. Definitely not the time to find out is when you're on mile 20 of that marathon and you're broken out and you're feeling miserable. So make sure you test out that lubrication and anti-chafing stuff. Race day is busy. There's lots of going on. There's going to be people walking around. There's going to be stuff going on beside the race. There's going to be cars. There's going to be other pedestrians and people where you're running. Lots of stuff going on. So don't just go down in your pain cave and train, just staring at a wall. Now, there's times for mental training where that might be useful, but have something going on to where it's a little bit distracting, because you need to be able to operate in a situation where there's lots of stuff going on. The aid station from the bike, there's lots of going on. The run course, there's tons of going on. There's going to be spectators. There's going to be chances where people cheering you on. You got to be able to absorb that energy, but not immediately speed up or something like that and burn every bit of energy you have going through a high spectator area or going through an aid station where they pump you up and then you get out and then 10 minutes later you're totally flat. You got to be able to go with the ebbs and flows. So if you're training and you're not getting any mental stimulus whatsoever, over a 2-hour run on the treadmill or a 5-hour ride on the trainer or something like that, watch a movie that you get invested in that gets your heart rate up a little bit, some action, some, Avengers Endgame or something that gets you really stoked up, when Tony Stark at the end of the movie, you get kind of teared up or something like that, or Transformers when Bumblebee gets thrown off a cliff or something. I don't know, whatever gets you going for, emotionally invested in a movie, maybe that's something you turn on to get that heart rate up. So make sure you got mental stimulus in your training, because on race day there'll be a lot going on. So you need to be able to withstand a lot of other activity going on outside of your little bubble. Speaking of gear, make sure you're using the same bike you're going to use, the wheels, make sure you test those out, the tires, the shoes, running gear, hats. If you're going to wear a hat, you're going to wear a trucker hat, you're going to wear a visor, you're going to wear bondy bands, you're going to be wearing a headband. If you're going Lionel Sanders style, wearing a headband, whatever you're going to use, make sure you're doing it in training. And like I said, like the gear, if you got to time shoes right, you don't want your shoes all broken in and over past due on race day, but wearing once in a while. I've got a pair that I'm breaking in a little bit over time, and for Ironman Tulsa, I'm aiming to have about 40 or 50 miles on them. So when I go out there, they should be relatively fresh and broken in. It shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, wear your hats. Find out if it's going to be comfortable. Wear the clothes. Find out if it's comfortable. Make sure you're riding your bike. Make sure that you've got a good bike setup. If you're on a trainer and you have a trainer-specific bike and you're spending 95% of the time because you can't get outdoors because of the weather during the winter, and you go out and ride a different bike on race day, that's going to cause all kinds of problems. Now, if you've got a super expensive tri bike and you don't want to put it on the trainer, you might have to suck it up and maybe, on the long rides on the weekends, you swap it out and put your race bike on the trainer. Some people put their old road bike on the trainer or something like that, which is fine, but you need to be able to withstand, especially if you got an aero bike and you're going to use that for race day and you're training on a road bike on the trainer, that's not going to work on race day. That's just not going to work. So make sure you're training on the gear and the stuff that you're going to use, aside from the clothing. Make sure you're doing that in training too, to be training like you'll race, or training like you will be on race day. The other last thing I want to leave you with is the wetsuit. Like Ironman Tulsa, Ironman Des Moines 70.3 that I'm training for, more than likely is going to be wetsuit, at least optional, probably wetsuit legal for everybody. So make sure you try on the wetsuit and try it. Even if you go to a pool, wear it one time and then rinse it off really well and then hang it up. Do not, whatever you do, you haven't raced in 2020 at all, it's been sitting in the closet for 2 years, don't break it out on race day and then go out there to the swim beach and then try to put it on for the first time. That could cause a problem, especially if it hasn't been wet. You can chance ripping it and stuff like that. So just make sure, get that wetsuit out, try it in the pool at least, try to get an open water swim. I want to try to get open water swim before Tulsa, but usually pools start opening up around Memorial Day, so I might not have opportunity to at least get it in the water, so maybe I just put it on and wear it in the shower or something like that, just to get it broken in for a minute. So those are my quick tips. I'm not going to go on forever, but races are happening. We got 70.3 Florida this weekend. 70.3 Texas happened last weekend. We're looking at Ironman Tulsa. I know Ironman Texas got punted, so we're crossing our fingers for Ironman Tulsa. They sent out an email that they got all the approvals. So 70.3 Des Moines, as long as things keep going in the right direction, I think these races will happen. So start training like you're going to race on race day. So hopefully that helps you out. Got any questions, put them in the comments, and we will talk to you guys later.